Thank you for joining us today on Earthfile. Welcome to the program. I'm Ayola Kasim. Lagos is the commercial and economic hub of Nigeria. It is also one of the fastest growing megacities, expected to become the world's most populated city by 2100. However, fast urbanization and industrialization have exposed the majority of its population to a high level of air pollution, leading to negative impact on health. Air pollution is a significant problem in the city. It is also often 5 times higher than the international recommended limit. The majority of air pollution in Lagos is from poorly maintained and unregulated vehicles that fill the city's roads. Additionally, water pollution is a significant problem due to industrial waste and domestic sewage. The economic cost of this pollution is huge, and many are dying, not just in Lagos, but across the continent. So the question is, what is being done? We'll look at this and more on today's program. Do stay with us. Lagos waterfront, dirty, and is under consistent and sometimes severe pressure from diverse forms of human activities emanating from the surrounding city centers. Although it is a major source of livelihood for thousands of fishermen, the pollution of the lagoon have a negative impact on thousands of people who depend on it. Several aquatic organisms in the lagoon are commercially important species, providing food and income for surrounding communities and beyond. The fish caught here represents more than half of Nigeria's fisheries production of nearly 800,000 metric tons. This unique brackish water environment also plays significant roles in ecosystem stability and as a breeding ground for aquatic species. Unfortunately, the lagoon receives enormous amounts of largely untreated industrial and other wastes. Researchers have found that the complex combination of pollutants in Lagos Lagoon interferes with fish and mammal biology, especially their endocrine systems, and is potentially harmful to humans. It has been reported that these pollutants from industrial and domestic sources in the Lagos Lagoon represent a cocktail of environmental contaminants. They are capable of interfering with the growth and reproduction of fish and mammals that depend on the stability of the lagoon ecosystem. These findings imply that there are potential risks for harmful effects on human health. The pollutants are potentially transferred to humans from aquatic food resources. They become more concentrated along the food chain, given that the hormone systems of vertebrates are similar. Pollutants that affect fish will potentially affect humans in similar or comparable ways. This indicates possible negative health consequences for people who depend on the lagoon as a food source. The heavy pollutant load may also be contributing to the observed decrease in fish catches at the lagoon in recent times. This effect may arise from the inability of enough fish eggs and young fish to develop into adults, or it could be from damage to food and nursery habitat for young fish. To curb this, the Lagos State government officials decided to visit one of the coastal communities.
Well, this is Ibeshe community in Ilashe, and there are about 5 different communities gathered together here in Ibeshe. And the main purpose of us coming here is to teach, educate, sensitize, inform, and communicate in a different way, in an entertaining way, in an easy way, in a way that we will get feedback from the community members. We chose a coastal line deliberately because we're constantly faced with rising sea levels. And this is a trend that is alarming worldwide. And to curb this, we have to start to pay attention to global warming and climate change. And how do we explain this to the people that live around the coast? We have brought different types of information, education, and communication tools, including drama, including incentivizing. So, for example, we have a program called Cash for Trash, where we say pick up your plastic bottles, don't let them go into the oceans, protect the ecosystem in the oceans, because the microplastics, when the fishes eat them, we eat them, and it causes all sorts of diseases, cancer, heart disease, blood disease, even sudden death, because plastic is non-biodegradable. They're all like, they are getting a new mindset as to their knowledge and their attitude and their practice towards waste management. We're here with
The state is approaching this by bringing different agencies together.
We're here with 4 different or 5 different agencies. We have Lagos State Waste Management Agency, we have Lagos State Waterways Authority, we have Lag Ferry, and we have the Health Insurance Management Agency. Why have we brought the Health Management Insurance Agency? The other thing is we are preaching that cash is trash. Cash can be gotten for trash. Trash can be converted to cash. And this time, we are not only converting your trash, we are encouraging recycling by saying that all the waste, don't burn them. Even vegetal waste can be used for fertilizers. Plastic waste especially can be used for recycling. So here we are collecting plastic waste, giving incentives, including money. And the high point is we are partnering with the Lagos State Health Management Agency by giving health insurance. If you bring me 30 plastic bags filled with empty water bottles, PET bottles, you and a family of 4 are entitled to free health care for a year in any hospital registered under the Lashma scheme. And that is not all. Mr. Babajide Sanwo-Olu has also created a pocket for the vulnerable group. Those are the ones we call poor and cannot afford health care. If you fall into that group, because of this program, you'll be enlisted and you have free health care. Because honestly, health is wealth. And we have merged environment and health together so they start to understand the impact of the way they treat their environment on how it affects their health.
Apart from the underground water pollution, the state also battles worsening air pollution. Outdoor air pollution and toxic lead poisoning have kept global deaths from environmental contamination at an estimated 9 million per year since 2015. Air pollution from industry processes along with urbanization drove a 7% increase in pollution-related deaths from 2015 to 2019, according to scientists' analysis of data on global mortality and pollution levels.
So the key findings of this report are kind of shocking, which are not much has changed in 5 years in terms of the overall number of premature deaths. We're still seeing 9 million deaths a year from all types of pollution, air, water, and soil.
An early version of the work published in 2017 also estimated the death toll from pollution at roughly 9 million per year, or about 1 of every 6 deaths worldwide. And the cost to the global economy at up to $4.6 trillion per year. That puts pollution on par with smoking in terms of global deaths. COVID-19, by comparison, has killed about 6.7 million people globally since the pandemic began. For their most recent study, published in the online journal Lancet Planetary Health, the authors analyzed 2019 data from the global burden of disease, an ongoing study by the University of Washington that assesses overall pollution exposure and calculates mortality risks. The new analysis looks more specifically at the causes of pollution, separating traditional contaminants such as indoor smoke from cooking or sewage from more modern pollutants like industrial air pollution and toxic chemicals.
The big difference in this update compared to the 2017 one is that we're seeing an increase in number of deaths from modern pollution. And so what I mean by modern pollution is that which is caused by industrialization, urbanization, right? These are the concerns that we're really seeing rise now, and that number is just skyrocketing. It's actually increased 66%. So the number of premature deaths from modern pollution has increased 66% since 2000. Conversely, we're seeing a reduction in number of deaths from traditional pollution, right? This is a poverty-related pollution. It's that caused by indoor cook stoves or water and sanitation. And because of the amount of investment that's gone into those areas, we're really seeing those numbers come down. And so the overall net effect is actually that there's the same number of deaths. So the improvements that we're seeing in traditional pollution are actually being offset by this increase in deaths from modern pollution.
Deaths from traditional pollutants are declining globally, but they remain a major problem in Africa and some other developing countries. Tainted water and soil and dirty indoor air put Chad, the Central African Republic, and Niger as the three countries with the most pollution-related deaths, according to data adjusted for population.
Okay, yeah, as you might expect, the worst impacted are, of course, low and middle income countries and vulnerable communities. So the high income countries, US, Europe, we're seeing a lot of progress in those countries. And conversely, with low and middle income countries, we're seeing the deaths really rise in those countries.
State programs to cut indoor air pollution and improvements in sanitation have helped to curb death tolls in some places. In Ethiopia and Nigeria, these efforts brought related deaths to drop by 2/3 between 2000 and 2019. Meanwhile, the Indian government in 2016 began offering to replace wood-burning stoves with gas stove connections.
In Madagascar, for example, indoor cook stoves are still a really big issue, where about 90% of people are literally still cooking with wood or charcoal in their home. So that's a really big priority for them, and it still remains a priority. But on top of that, they've also got outdoor air pollution, chemicals, and kind of lead and other chemicals that are also causing additional exposures. In India, of course, it's very infamous for having poor air quality, although the government has taken some really good investment and steps to addressing air pollution in some cities. China, sort of the same thing. You're seeing some really good improvements in some cities, but not in others. So you have to look at the national level, but then also the regional level and the city level.
On its part, the Lagos state government flagged off its environmental project tagged Eco Clean Air at coastal communities across the state in September for the distribution of eco-friendly materials for residents of these communities.
That whole story I told about plastic is the same thing with engine oil. But this engine oil can also become money. People have started collecting it and recycling it. I will tell you a secret. All of us that are cream and Vaseline, all those things come from waste oil.
The Lagos State Environmental Protection Agency says more than 300,000 people died due to air pollution in the state in 2021. The World Bank identified the transport sector as the highest contribution to air pollution in the state in 2018, followed by industrial emissions and generators aggravated by open burning and illegal dumping of waste.
So we decided that health promotion, information is the best way to go. And coming to Itedo Market as a pilot, we have achieved massive success. We have been here for 2 months educating people before this program. And as you can even feel yourself, we did pre-air quality studies, we did knowledge, attitude, and practices studies. And I am happy to say that as of today, the air quality is almost perfect, as you can breathe and feel yourself. Nobody's burning firewood, nobody's burning fossil fuel, and the government, in its magnanimity, will be giving out free gas cookers and burners, and all you have to do is go to your nearest gas station to refill. And with this, we are fighting global warming, we are fighting climate change, and we are improving the quality of life, increasing the GDP, and generally improving the economy of Lagos State.
If, as experts predict, Lagos becomes the world's largest city by 2100, the sources of pollution will likely increase as industry grows and transportation needs soar. The World Bank's report, released in late 2020, estimated that illness and premature deaths due to ambient air pollution caused losses of $2.1 billion in 2018, representing about 2.1% of Lagos State's GDP. The study proposed various remedies to improve Lagos' air quality, such as using cleaner passenger vehicles, shifting to public transport, adopting cleaner fuel, and using alternative power sources.
Because the environment is global. Air pollution, indiscriminate waste disposal, everything we're tackling together because you cannot separate one from the other. The environment is the only thing that we all share together in common. The houses we live in, where we work, transport sector, the cars we go in, what the cars emit, the smoke from the cars. So we have to tackle all of it together. It all comes together in one big success ball. And the success ball is fighting global warming, fighting climate change, and ensuring that the air and the environment is sustainable for generations to come. We also preach planting of trees. We preach planting of trees because trees are natural carbon sinks. Trees help us clean the environment. We also preach that don't cut down trees. If you have to cut down, we have an agency called Lagos State Parks and Gardens. They give you free seedlings. Replant anywhere else, we would give you for free. Lagos State Waste Management Agency is here as well. Ministry of Environment is here. So it's a total package. We cannot separate air pollution from plastic pollution. That's why we're doing it all together. Success is measured by the quality of the air. And we have machines that measure quality of air. Success is measured by the reduction in the number of children coming to the hospital with respiratory tract infections. Success is measured by less deaths, and the greatest success of all is passing this information to the younger ones who will then pass it to generations to come, so that global warming and climate change and air pollution in the nearest future will not be a futuristic thing. We will understand that it is something that resides with us here.
Elsewhere in Africa, a Ugandan team of university researchers has developed a low-cost air quality monitoring technology solution that is designed to work in an environment with conditions like extreme heat, dust, and unreliable power unique to Africa. Engineer Beno Mugisha, who leads the research project called AirQO at the state-run Makerere University, says they were driven to develop the innovation as a contribution to tackling the high death toll from air pollution. The World Health Organization estimates globally 7 million people die annually from illnesses related to air pollution exposure.
Air pollution is one of the greatest environmental health risks. We quickly found out that organizations like the World Health Organization done some studies to quantify the magnitude of air pollution, which shows that over 7 million people die every year from illnesses which are linked to air pollution exposure. And for us, that was, really an eye-opener for us to come in with technology solutions on how we could contribute to improving air quality.
According to the 2021 World Air Quality Report, Uganda's capital, Kampala, was ranked among the world's most polluted cities, with pollution levels that exceed WHO's safe standards by 5 to 7 times. Major sources of pollutants in Kampala, according to the country's environmental protection body, include dust from unpaved roads, wood fuel use, vehicle and industrial emissions, and open burning of solid waste. Developed with part funding from United States technology giant Google, AirQO's air quality monitoring solution involves deployment of a network of sensors which gather pollution data that is then processed and, via a cell phone network, uploaded on a cloud-based service accessible to their clients and the public via a smartphone app. The monitoring devices are installed at locations like schools, residential areas, streets and buildings, as well as motorbike taxis.
We use a 3D printer to do the manufacturing of the housing units. And then, of course, a PCB requires software, what we'd call a firmware, designed to gather data from the sensors that are attached to the components. And then this data is quantified and refined at the hardware level, and then transmitted over a cell phone network to our cloud-based system.
The technology also deploys artificial intelligence and machine learning to analyze data, boost accuracy of monitor readings, make forecasts and troubleshoot errors. Currently, AirQO has deployed a network of 65 monitors, mostly in Kampala.
Obviously, there is a variation of the pollution levels from place to place, and it's why it is important to create low-cost air quality monitors, because if you look at a city like Kampala, you can't have one monitor and use that to make a statement on the state of air pollution across the country, across the city.
The researchers say the devices are also uniquely designed to withstand the environmental and physical conditions, including dust and humidity, while reliably operating in settings characterized by unreliable power and intermittent internet connectivity, typical of sub-Saharan Africa.
Now that Uganda started monitoring, we are getting to know what the problem is, and I think we should be able to start working on the problem. Already, as it is, government of Uganda noted the problem of air pollution, and they have been trying to regulate the cars that come into the country in terms of age. Of course, the older the car is, the more it pollutes. So they have put some cutoff for cars to come into Uganda, and even then put in place an environment tax. We think with more monitoring and increasing public awareness, which the government should embark on, and putting in policies in place that aim at reducing air pollution, we should be getting somewhere.
The city was previously using air quality monitors, mostly imported from the United States, at about $30,000 a piece, and city officials say because the equipment was not made for the local environment, it frequently broke down and needed costly repairs.
The only caveat there would be, does it measure the same way as other standardized equipment? So standardizing it and making sure it does the same job as other equipment would be required. And then if it does the same job, I bet it would be the best that you can have for air quality monitoring. And then would expand our air quality monitoring. And I believe the resultant would be more awareness, more efforts for policy, and then efforts for controlling air pollution would be, I think, established from individual level to the public level.
According to AirQO, their devices, about $150 a piece, are designed to work on both grid electricity and solar power. That's our show for today. Thank you for being a part of it. Do send us your comments or questions. Earthfile@channelstv.com is the address. From all of us here in Lagos, it's bye for now.